For being here. Thank you, thank you. We're still letting a couple people in as we will probably start in another 30 seconds to 1 minute, I think, right? And see if anybody else wants to join us. Thank you for being here. This is so exciting. It's the first time I'm doing this one, so I'm excited about putting it all together. I would love your feedback at the end or during the time that we are together. There's a couple of points that we can have a great discussion. So if you're willing and able to do the discussion, you can put them into the chat, or you can just ask the questions off the video. So very exciting about this. And I'm going to share my screen to start off with and dive right in. So I get asked these questions all the time of how do you get through the holiday season as a small business, right? And there's like 1,001 things you can do tactically and strategically. I try to just think about it as a mindset reset a little bit before you get to end of year. Because a lot of like the anxiety for some people is like, oh my gosh, it's end of year, I didn't get anything done. Or I did so much and I don't know how to like work through the end of the time that I have for this year. I didn't meet my revenue metrics. What are my metrics? All of those plethora of questions and conversations I've had with small businesses and tech startups. So I thought, you know what, why don't I put it all together in a 1 hour session that we have together. Thank you for the Brink SBDC as an advisor. Loves sharing this value to all of our clients so that everybody gets a little bit of this information. And I would recommend anybody who's part of the Brink SBDC to go and talk to your advisors about what you learned today to set up your goals, your personal goals and your personal expectations by the end of the year. And if you're not part of the Brink and do not have an advisor, please come see us and sign up, because I think, and I believe wholeheartedly that our program is spectacular and you should take advantage of it. So without all that, want to kind of start up setting up your small business for a strong finish to the year end. And if anybody knows me, I'm more strategic than tactical. So I am a consultant advisor at the Brink SBDC. I've also been a co-fund manager for San Diego Angel Conference. I have probably advised over 10,000 startups from the first time that I stepped foot into advising about I would say about 15 years ago, so, or even more. So I'm excited to be here with you. And as I have a PhD in biochemistry and an MBA in strategy, so I try to also get some data around and some strategy for you all to really thrive. So the importance of a mindset reset for Q4, I always like to use acronyms or just kind of allow myself to distill down what we're going to learn about today in a very fun way. So reset, R-E-S-E-T, is one of them. I wanted to kind of talk about return on investment and return on impact. So, you know, I know that you're probably tracking, we're going to go into CAC and LTV, which is customer acquisition cost. And lifetime value. And those are the kinds of things that you should be tracking to understand your return on investment based on what the time and effort and money you put into your business and what you get out of it as revenue. And then you can put the layer on top as investors as well, or as the money they're giving you as an investment is returned to LEM in the end. And I just realized investment is spelled wrong. I'm so sorry. And then return on impact is more the strategic part. Is that, am I really bringing value to my customers? Am I bringing the impact that I want to those customers? And am I tracking that enough to understand the true impact of my company so that I'm not really always tied to my numbers, but maybe I'm tied also to the impact that I'm creating in my industry and in my customers. Secondly, the first E is expectations versus reality. Who feels that way that right this time of the year? So I know a lot of people are like, oh, my expectations for the year was to meet this revenue target and I didn't. Oh my goodness, I expected to get these many investors and I didn't, or I expected to have these many investors and I actually like plowed through that and I got the right investors in the room. Now it's like, oh, I need to execute. Wow, okay, those are expectations I have now versus reality is that have some grace upon yourself. The reality is there's unexpected things in the industry. There are volatility in the market. Customers are fickle. Product might have been manufactured a longer time frame than you had expected before. And the reality is that you pivoted. That is a beautiful thing. Or that you had to reimagine what you're going to do for your customers now that your product did not come in, or your B2B sales with that hospital. It took a lot longer than what you expected. You expected only 3 months and you would have a signed contract, but really in reality, you're waiting 4 or 5 months. But now that you have it, wow, you can go to other hospitals. That's a huge thing to celebrate, right? So celebrate the reality, and give yourself grace when the reality is not so positive. Sincerity, authenticity, and transparency is what across the board in any marketing workshop that you find, anything that is tactical versus strategic, also in marketing, is that the more authentic you are as a brand, as a founder, in all aspects of your business, and more transparency that you show, the more customers are sticky, more investors that are sticky, that your partners are more invested in your company because you're being authentic and not showing, like having things that are behind the scenes. So that's why I really wanted to make sure in this mindset reset of Q4, are you authentically communicating your value proposition? Are you being transparent to your B2B partners? And what about if you added more transparency? Would you actually get more customers or more transactions? So we'll talk about all of those things. Next E is execution, traction, and tracking. So of course, execution by end of year. If we can set some great goals that you have for end of year, you can gain the traction that you need to get, but also you need to track these things. You can't just say, oh, I have all this execution I need to do, and my customers are gonna love me by end of year, or I'm gonna turn them into an evangelical customer. Well, if you don't have the tracking of like, what does that look like? Am I going to increase my sales? Am I going to increase my customer base? Who is my customer base? You can't really progress. So please know that you need to be tracking as much as you can so that you can be the best version of yourself. And then I said T is temperature of team, culture, and industry, because within the mindset reset of Q4, we're going into the election tomorrow. Hello, right? And in any week or day that there is out there, there's always something in the industry that you're like, oh, tomorrow is X, next week is this Y that's going to happen in the stock market, or in my industry. Things are changing so drastically. Understand that temperature and be proactive to make sure that your mindset is in a reset for the end of Q4, because it might have been different in Q1 and you haven't really revisited, right? Those things. So if you were like Q1, Q2, Q3, we're going through it, the industry is the same. Well, is it? Let's talk about that, right? And have that in the back of your mind. So basically, team is preparing mentally, emotionally, and strategically for the holiday rush to get you to the end of Q4. And the company is basically, you want to have this mindset of driving revenue and secure loyal customers. So you've probably heard it. I'm going to have it in the presentation, is that let's look at the middle number there. It's 5 times more expensive to acquire new customers than it is to retain. So what do you think in a straw poll in the chat? Would you want your strategy for end of year is to acquire new customers or to incentivize your existing customers? It's a kind of like a trick question, but not really. Yeah, incentivize. Thank you, Ellen. Incentivize your existing customers to buy from you more, or incentivize them for a bundle deal, or incentivize them to buy a product that's holiday specific. But in January, man, you're gonna go back to them and say, hey, you know what? I have something that's gonna be good for you outside of the holidays. So definitely that's something to be aware of and remember. Sometimes we just don't remember that. So it's more expensive to acquire new customers than it is to retain them. I would say my caveat around that is, who is your customer? Make sure you understand your persona. And maybe you need to just meet with your team and say, are we on the same page for end of year that we're going after this one persona? Yes or no? Okay, great. Who is that persona? And get deeper for just three months. And then you'll be able to say, okay, we did that. We did a really good job on the holiday push. So I give you a couple more data points here. 94% of customers relate most to brands that emphasize transparency. So if you know that, and that's across the board, B2B and B2C, is what would you want to do if you're kind of struggling, or if you're right there, right, in your sales? What would you want to do? Is you want to emphasize the transparency, clarity, like crystal balling everything for your customers. And then the other data set was 96% of customers will continue to work with you and refer you if they feel like the business cares. Right. So like great customer service, or if something goes wrong, if they don't receive their product in time, or in a B2B sale, you didn't close the loop, or the partnership fell apart, or the partnership was really great. Well, they're going to continue to do work with you and actually refer you to the next B2B salesperson. So when you're dealing with end of year, these are the things that say, okay, if I have a lot of noise outside, I want to focus on these exact things to put myself forwards. So any questions until now that are burning? Because we're going to go one by one through all of these kind of big topics. Okay, well, you can put them in the chat. This is Q4 mindset shift, and we've kind of gone through a little bit of them, but I just want to go through them. The first one is from survival to growth. So don't just get through the season, embrace it as a high impact growth period. Sometimes you're thinking, oh, if I could do A/B testing on my product, or A/B testing on my website, and see what the data comes in. A/B testing is that, let's say you have a landing page on your website because you want to drive traffic to this customer persona, meaning, let's say women, 25-year-old women who love to surf because you have a surf company. Then you might be throughout the year a little bit, not so many people coming through, but in the holidays, if you have a holiday special, you'll have greater traffic, and that's what you can do. You embrace that growth of the company saying, will they buy this? And then that impacts your goal setting for the next year. Then flexibility and adaptability in strategy. Be ready to adjust based on sales performance, customer feedback, and new trends. So, have you tested anything in Q1 to Q3 that you can implement? So I know a couple of my clients have tried a couple things in Q1 through Q3, like being really forward facing to my customer, or that they have met them in a different type of environment, meaning that they were selling X at farmers markets, and now they're selling X, the same thing, at a different market. Then, okay, and that actually worked. Then let's continue doing that and adapt. Or it's not working, I'm going to go back to the farmers market. I'm giving you easy examples, not to like diminish the awesomeness that all of you are here. Either you have a tech company or CPG or anything like that. I'm just giving you really easy concepts. So you're like, oh yeah, I totally get that. I'm like, okay, then take that really great, easy example into your business. Third is lead with positivity. A positive outlook keeps you motivated and helps your team stay resilient. I know that's really easy to say, right? And yeah, go be positive, but take on this holiday spirit that everybody is in, joyful. Some people actually have PTSD during the holidays. So you want to always lead with positivity as a founder. And that positivity is not just your team. If you're a solopreneur, I get you, right? But solopreneurs have partnerships. Solopreneurs have advisory boards. Solopreneurs have boards of directors. If you lead with positivity, you're up and to the right already, right? You're really forward thinking. And focus on opportunity. See challenges as opportunities to innovate and capture market share. So that market share piece, I wanted to kind of put it in there because there's an opportunity. Maybe if let's say let's take the surfing example as an example, is that the surfing company sells boards all year round, and it's like, okay, one board at a time, but you want to capture market share in the booties, or the wetsuits that are a bit for colder weather, especially in Southern California. Now that it's getting colder, maybe you can capture that market share by saying, okay, I've been selling surfboards, but what about if I partner with Roxy and I can sell a booty with a dry suit or a thicker suit? Interesting. Would that help? Maybe, maybe not. But you could test that during the holidays, saying it's colder, it's the holidays, come and buy from us. So you see how those are the kinds of mindset shift that you can have in Q4. I wanted to give you, in most of these slides, I'll give you an SMB, which is a small and medium business example, and sometimes a tech example. These are coming from specific companies that are at the brink or from outside of the SBDC network, but they're real companies. So, but I don't say the name because I want to make sure that it's not, nobody feels bad about this. So let's just take a coffee company. Everybody's had a cup of coffee, but they expanded offerings and opened new pop-ups during the holiday season. So with this example, sometimes there's an opportunity to have a pop-up at a holiday fair or at a holiday, even like a product-based holiday cookie fest, whatever it is, you can actually be able to have these pop-ups so that people can understand your brand, know that you have a great coffee company, and then be able to become customers year round. And with those customers, you might want to do a subscription model of getting coffee every single month. You see how that customer acquisition cost of you being a pop-up and you just go there, be in front of that customer, allows you to pull that customer through to actually have more value and more revenue come into your business. So that's the first one. Getting clear holiday goals. As you all probably know, I love goal setting. So I have 2 slides for this. The examples I think are on the next page. I just want to make sure I have that. Yeah. So the examples are on the next page, but the focus areas are that you want to define what success looks like. Whether it's revenue, new customers, or brand exposure, be specific, right? Because it's important to have that success that you want to look like that success. And it might be that you don't have any new customers, but man, you're thinking about brand exposure to those customers, having them become more rigorous customers and having them more focused. Don't forget, I put this customer journey here because I always love just seeing it out there in front of me because it goes from awareness, consideration, decision, value, realization, retention, and advocacy. So I'm talking about, let's say the customer that loves your product, loves your company. That's that advocacy over here. So you can identify, hey, we have some great customers that buy from us year round, but in Q4, because of the holidays, we can actually get more awareness. Or actually we can get more retention from the ones that have been our customers all year round. Or our customers are great. We love them, but we want them to become advocates. So you can take this customer journey and say, which one would we want to focus on and be laser focused for the end of year? You see how that just allows you to be a little bit more specific and be able to have it be achievable and attainable in a 3-month period. And track and adjust. You want to monitor progress daily or weekly and tweak the strategies to stay on target. So that's why it's so important. If you have Google Analytics or any analytics out there, you want to be always constantly looking at them, especially if you have a goal for the end of Q4. So some examples here are that we have a candle company. So set a clear goal to increase holiday sales by 20% through online channels, leading to consistent growth and customer satisfaction. So when I was working with this company, it was more of like she was going to all of these fairs and saying, you know what, I don't get that transaction of the fair going to online channels. So you know what, I'm really going to focus on these online channels for the holiday season to see, can I increase my customer base, or can I get new customers by doing ads that I've never done before, because I've always been in these smaller in-person places that I don't have enough time. Do you see how that just allows her to be like, okay, I can focus on the online channels and see in 3 months, Q4, if it actually works. I'm just giving you a tech startup example, is that I was researching this is just Slack, right? The Slack technology company, they prepared for holiday downtime challenges by proactively optimizing its server load management, ensuring smooth communications for remote teams during peak holiday times. So I like this example because for technology companies out there that might be, you can really leverage the piece of the holidays that people are remote, but you can actually, have them subscribe to different things, or that you need to increase your cybersecurity during the holidays because of XYZ. So think about the things that you can optimize within your tech stack to be able to be more optimal for your customers in the needs that they have during the holidays. So again, going back to your persona, what are the needs that they have? What can you give them as a value add during the holidays, and then optimize that? So next up is financial planning for Q4. Again, I'll give you some key points and then some examples. So one is allocate budget wisely for key areas. Focus on ads, inventory, and staffing where the return on investment is high. So remember at the very first slide, I said return on investment is equally as important as return on impact. So if you, let's say, have a lot of inventory, right? Then you might say, hey, actually, we can sell this out because there's more people going through our website during the holidays. So let's just like throw that inventory out the door and reduce it, but we're actually going to get that out. Or the opposite is true too. Look, we have inventory from last year or like our designs from last year that are holiday driven. Let's resurface them, get them all set so that at the very end of the holiday season, we can really have as much inventory as possible on those specific things that the customers really want to see. Secondly is monitor cash flow during the holiday campaigns. Watch out for the shiny bright. A lot of founders go into that category of, oh my gosh, it's the holidays. I can sell this, or I can sell that, or I can like do this wonderful, like, splash of color, and just watch out for them because sometimes you're like, oh, it's a great idea and I'm not going to monitor my cash flow. And that is a dangerous slope to go down. So avoid overextending by keeping close tabs on expenses, particularly for marketing and shipping. And again, shipping, you might want to do something that's like fast shipping to get to the holidays, but it might not be so financially savvy for you. So just make sure that you're going through all the steps there. And then prioritize profitable products or services is highlight the best sellers and high margin items in promotions. So that goes back to the example that I gave in the first point here is that if you do have best sellers, right? Let's say services, right? For me as an advisor and a coach, my services at the end of the year is going through like goal setting sessions and stuff like that to get to end of year and to set up Q1 correctly, because actually a lot of people think Q4 is downtime for like more service-based businesses, and then but they want to be ready for Q1. So I want to highlight some best sellers to my customers and high margin items in promotion. So if you have high margins of any items that you sell, you can promote that and be, like prioritize those things. And then plan for unexpected costs as always. But again, during the holidays, you never know what happens and rush shipping or extra staffing that you might need. So just be prepared for that. Oh yeah, so the example, I love that. So this is an example of a bakery I have been involved with, and they kept popular holiday items in stock. So they made sure that they had extra staff to make all of the holiday items that they needed, the exact cookie like flavor that most people really love during the holidays. They took off some of them that are just, year-round specials, but the ones for the holidays, man, they have all of those in stock and always in stock so that they can sell accordingly and sell to the customers that absolutely love what they do. So for an tech example, Dropbox, I found this example is allocated budget strategically to support its cybersecurity and cloud infrastructure, preparing for that increased usage among remote teams. So similar to Slack, they did that, but they were more worried about the cybersecurity. And I had alluded to that at the beginning of this kind of example. Next up is marketing strategy refresh. So I wouldn't say that you need to do a whole marketing refresh in Q4. I would not want you to do that, but you can smartly message to your customers and resonate with their holiday themes. There's a lot of holidays that are happening right now, and pick the one that your customers love and align your marketing copy to that. I know I did not put this in an example. I just want to make sure my example. No. So the example here is that one of my portfolio companies, they sell perfumes and stuff like that. And what they love, the customers love, and their email open rate is huge, like almost in 70%, is when the founders talk about themselves. Right. So what they did, I think it was like 2 years ago, and then last year as well, they're going to do it again this year, is talk about their holiday traditions as founders, right? To see like, look, the holiday tradition was to use what we actually have invented to really connect with the older generation. They went off. And I mean, that open rate was like up to like almost 80%, 80, 85 of that email. And they sold a lot of what that product that they talked about in the email. So it's very interesting how you can be authentic and transparent, and that resonates perfectly to your customers. And if they're resonating with like your year-long copy on certain aspects, just up level it to the holiday theme that is associated with that marketing tactic. So that's a really smart way of doing it, because you have the data, you know what the customers love. So just upload that to scale that to the holiday theme. Secondly is utilize social media and email marketing. Engage, audiences with the festive content and exclusive offers, because everybody wants a great deal. It's like the FOMO, right? The exclusive offers of only during the holidays we have this. And B2B, I'm conscious that a lot of these examples are B2C. So B2B could be that, hey, if you're a subscription model for the holidays, we're going to decrease our subscription for the next 3 months by X amount. And because we really care and we want to be, because of Thanksgiving, we are thankful for our customers and we want to reduce the burden that everybody's having during this challenging time, whatever you want to do. But that exclusive offer, you could do it as a B2B sale as well. Focus on storytelling. So share behind the scenes stories or values that connect with customers' holiday spirit, their behaviors and thoughts. So if you've ever done a persona map for your customer, go back to that, right? And part of it is behaviors and the thoughts that they have and where they are living and breathing, and know, like, how do I storytell around that so that you have more stickiness in your story and you're being authentically talking to them about their stories and your own stories. Targeted promotions is, again, segment your customer list. If you haven't done that, it's a great time to do so, because you're saying holiday versus non-holiday. You could do that segmentation. The example that I have here is, I love this because I've seen this over and over again, not just in an eco-friendly store, but I'll give you this example. An eco-friendly store that launched a holiday campaign sharing stories of sustainable holiday tips, increasing engagement and brand loyalty. So you remember, the brand loyalty is that advocate of that journey, the advocacy at the very end. That allowed them to have this sustained loyalty, because it's not just about like, oh, buy our stuff, but what are some stories about sustainable holiday tips that they shared with their customers. My other portfolio company, they sell things from Africa. So like baskets, and during the holidays they always have ornaments. So what they do is like, what is the story of how the ornament was being made? So they did the stories of the women in Africa that are part of a co-op, and that they build these ornaments, and the money goes back to them actually. So really good piece there. The tech example is Grammarly. So launch seasonal marketing campaigns showcasing use cases like perfecting holiday messages to engage users and drive holiday specific subscriptions. And if you're a coach out there, if you're a service-based business, this is also a really good example, right? Of saying, okay, like whatever I do as a coach, as a service provider, is there something that is perfect for the holidays that you would want to talk about? You can do it as a newsletter. You can do it in your email marketing. You can do it on LinkedIn. All of those things allows you to like pull that customer in and drive that specific holiday buy, or that, whatever else that is. One of the photographers that I work with, his downtime in the photography season is actually during Thanksgiving and Christmas for him, of like people booking. So what he does there is says, okay, I'm going to sell bundles of up to 5 sessions for the next year. So he actually gets booked in Thanksgiving and Christmas, because it is his typically down season, but he's actually being able to get their customers in the door at a very reduced price. It's like 50% of the price that they would pay for just 1 session, or up to 5 sessions on the day of. So very, very cool. And so next up is enhancing customer experience. So we all know that customers love experiences. They love being able to be talked to and encouraged to to buy and to buy on a consistent basis. So number one is customer-centric policies. We want to ensure policies for returns, exchanges, and support are easy, stress-free, and promptness is key. So I know that sometimes it's hard during the holidays to do all the things that you're doing and also have the promptness of customer service. But if you're like, okay, look, I'm going to communicate on my website a little bit better about returns and exchanges and say customers come first, and that we will return your requests or your questions within 48 hours or something like that. So you want to just make sure that it's customer centric, not just for what's good for you. Personalization options are, again, this is B2C, but offer gift wrapping, custom messages, or curated holiday gift guides based on your ideal persona behaviors, actions, and locations during the holidays. So that's really important. They're like, wow, they actually care about me. I really want this. Oh, interesting. We actually have that. So lastly is timely and friendly communications. Keep customers informed about orders, especially around shipping times, because that you can reduce stress and anxiety of your customers by saying, hey, we're going to be shipping to you at this time. And also for B2B, it might be off sometimes. It's like, oh, it's going to take them like a month to get back to me as partners, or a B2B sale. Say, you know what, no problem. We can meet at a certain, in a month, or, when would be the best time to get in front of you? Or can we book like a 2-hour session to whiteboard it together? When you co-create with your B2B customer, they feel better about that connection and actually buy from you more when you co-create the solution. So think about that. How do you be creative during this time that there's not a lot of time, but maybe you just have to be extra careful with saying, let's get on a call, instead of just saying, here's another email, let's get on a call. So it's more time on your hands, but you get a better customer at the end. So an SMB example is a local florist hand drew names on ribbon and floral arrangements or other orders because of high and important, I mess it up, because of the high and importance, right? So she knew that in this time frame of the holidays, if you just get a floral arrangement with no thing on it, it's okay, right? But if you have the ribbon with somebody's name on it, it's a gift. It goes from just a bouquet of flowers to a true gift of giving, of gratitude, of all of that. So that becomes a higher end value to the customer. And they're like, whoa, that was amazing. Yes, please. Right. The tech, I didn't have a tech example of that. Now it's like comes to the meat and potatoes that I love to talk about. And we're at about halfway done with our time today, but I love CAC and LTV. So I wanted to really dive into this for you all on the call. And for anybody who's listening, is that you want to decrease always customer acquisition cost and increase lifetime value, right? And this is a perfect time to increase that lifetime value by doing a couple of different things. So invest in retargeting past customers. So all year round, you don't have holidays, right? You have like the same old, right? You target your ads to the same customer, you're selling this the same thing. But in this Q4, in the holidays, you can rethink how you have engaged with them. So use targeted ads to re-engage customers who bought from you last year in Q1 through 3. And it's just a great time to do that. And even if you don't know how to do that, maybe sending out a survey to your customers of like, what do you want to see? Or if you have a small focus group that you're constantly talking with, saying, hey, what would you like to see this holiday season? Very cool. So optimize the customer journey. I've already kind of talked about that customer journey, but optimizing the onboarding to make initial purchases seamless and memorable. So like a little bit more customer service, because everybody is wanting that really great onboarding piece, while increasing repeat purchases and engagement. So you want to get that onboarding really nicely in there, and then you repeat purchases and engagement goes up because you're giving them more information. You are giving them better discounts or bundles or engagement or storytelling, whatever that is. Look at that customer journey that we talked about before. I'll go back to it just in case people forgot what it looks like. Boom. This one right here at the very bottom is going from awareness to advocacy. So all along this customer journey, you have customers in each of these buckets. So the more that you can go from decision to value realized or value realized to retention, that's how you really get that stickiness of the customer. And this is a perfect time to do that. Perfect. So we are right here. And then the last two is the really important is leverage referral programs. So you want to incentivize customers to bring in friends through rewards or discounts, right? You can say, hey, you know what, if you share what I have with your another customer, will give you a bonus or something like that. Or you say, if you buy certain things, you're going to give a discount to your community. You can even start an ambassador program if you want for your products or your brand. And it's a great time to do that because everybody's kind of posting, all the influencers are posting a lot during the holidays. So it gets a little bit dizzy or overwhelming, but it's the little pockets of incentivizing that customer based on the influencer and the brand that they are representing. And then lastly is clearly communicate customer loyalty programs, engage repeat customers with exclusive holiday offers. We're only going to give this during the holidays. Please come in. Please let us know how we can be of more value to you. They might even tell you, I want this. Well, let's do it, right? If it's feasible in the financial aspects of it and in your team of how you can do it. So that's that. And then next up is just examples. So SMB example is a pet supply store boosted repeat purchases by creating a loyalty program of buying holiday pet gifts when you purchase food for your pet. Somebody might be purchasing food all the way throughout the whole year, but you want to increase your lifetime value by saying, hey, you know what, if you bought from us, our customer service, then consider us for any of your pet needs, especially those pet gifts that go into the pet, whatever they're doing for the holidays. And then the tech example that I found was HubSpot used email nurturing and retargeting ads to boost signups and offered bundled discounts for additional CRM features, reducing CAC and increasing customer lifetime value. So bundling discounts of like, I want you to sign up for my subscription, plus we're going to throw in a 1 hour customer service call, or in the onboarding of new CRM clients in this Q4, we're going to add on something else, bundle it so that they feel super excited. End of year, get this out the door and interact with us. So that's just an example of a tech piece. And don't forget this is that we've kind of gone through this funnel already, but you're going from awareness all the way to referrals. This is just a different view of looking at that customer journey. And I love this always, is you want to get customers in this. So you want to have increased awareness, that's storytelling, that's videos and TikTok and Instagram and all those wonderful things. Then there's like an interest saying, oh, I want to know more. Maybe you ask them something on a post or anything like that. And they're like, yes, I want to know more. Okay, then they're going to consider, they might reach out to you with some questions. Of course, they're going to purchase. And that even that purchasing decision and the purchasing process should be super easy for them to do so that you can keep them. And then you're like, okay, my next sell and upsell and cross sell are what you can do right now in Q4, right? Saying I've already kept a couple of them. How many customers do we have all year round? And see what can we do to upsell them in a good way, in a very respectful and ethical way, of course, with authenticity and transparency that we've talked about. So that goes up in that strategic look of what this looks like for Q4. And then, of course, making sure that they are referring you and growing with you so that you can build this whole funnel all over again. And just for people to know the CAC and LTV kind of dynamic, and is that customer acquisition cost, so it's CAC, is low. We want low cost to acquire a customer, low cost in converting that customer, and a low cost to any referrals being done, because we want to increase the lifetime value or monetization of the customer. That goes through, like, we want to increase the retention, we want to increase the loyalty, we want to increase the user experience. Oh, LTV, great, is lifetime value. So CAC is customer acquisition cost, and LTV is lifetime value. And lifetime value is the lifetime that they're going to spend with you. You want to have them as high as possible. That's why during Q4, it's nice to know, well, what about if I do a holiday special? Would I increase my lifetime value with that customer? Very interesting, right? So you might be thinking, how do I increase it? And test a couple things. You might know, well, we sell this all year round, and we know we can increase by doing some Christmas or holiday bundles to increase that LTV. So we want to have, maybe it's a retention, maybe it's a loyalty program, all of those things. So that's why I just wanted to showcase this, because this is really important to kind of understand. Okay, so sales techniques for Q4. We've kind of talked about upselling and cross-selling holiday bundles a lot. And then create a sense of scarcity and or urgency. Use limited time offers to create a sense of urgency. Like we're only going to have this until the week before a holiday because we need to get it delivered them. Or for B2B sales, look, we're looking for 5 or 6 new customers that are going to be alongside us in this pilot new thing that we're doing with our customers, and you can come in at a lower cost. But we're going to increase our prices in January if you don't get into this like cohort that's coming in right now in the B2B sales piece. Personalized deals for loyal customers. Give VIPs exclusive early access to sales or free shipping. So that goes back to also like a B2C, not in a CPG space, like a consumer product good. It's more of like to the customer is that, hey, you're a VIP, you're going to get early access to the best of the best for Q1 if you buy now, or if you buy a bundle now. The highlight gift guides, we've talked about this already with the eco-friendly brand, but create guides for various customer segments, like gifts for her and him to simplify shopping. And it might not be only your products, it might be other products, but that's okay, because you want to get that customer to come in, and because that persona likes to buy coffee, and they also like coffee and they like your product. So you want to have a gift guide that attracts them to have them come into your funnel, and then you incentivize them to buy from you. So an SMB example is a boutique tea company, used holiday bundles and personalized offers built for VIP customers only, significantly increased average order values. So the VIP example for this one was, if you buy a certain amount of tea, then you're going to have a Zoom call with the founder. It was a very small company, but a lot of people loved the founder, loved that she was part of the tea industry and knew everything about teas and the different things that teas do. Well, if you get into this VIP group during the holidays, you're going to get on a call with her. Amazing. It could be a group call, right? Of saying, hey, you know what? Have an hour with the founder. Very interesting. The last, I think it was one of the last slides here, is managing stress and preventing burnout. We all know that all founders are just like, wow, we're all spread so thin, right? Who feels that? I know like everybody's like raising their hand now or nodding. So some wellness tips is find joy in what you find joy in, and set routines to engage in the joy, right? So I keep it really, really simple for founders, because founders are always all over the place or doing 1,001 things, but just think about the joy that you have in the simple things. Maybe your joy is going to the beach. Maybe your joy is reading a book. During this holiday season, even though we've talked this whole entire time about revenue and sales and like gets in front of the customers, I'm also telling you, like, find the joy and give yourself that joy back, because then you can actually be more authentic. I know even for me this weekend, I spent a couple of hours, something that I am joyful in. And I was like, wow, my brain was on fire afterwards. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do all these things now, because I allowed myself to engage in the joy that fills me up. So set work-life boundaries, define clear work hours to avoid holiday burnout as well. And then schedule short breaks and incorporate self-care routines. I know that we hear it all the time. I just have to say it out loud. I have to actually listen to my own advice. So, but the small frequent breaks, if you are like in the process of holiday sales that are just like blowing up, just like give yourself that 15 minutes, give yourself your 30 minutes to go outside and not have the burnout, because it will help you in the long term. Um, uh, Oh, yeah. So a pet grooming business encouraged staff to take regular breaks and set time for self-care during the busy holiday period, leading to a positive work environment and high customer satisfaction. So this was an example of, let's say, a team. I tried not to do so many examples of teams during this presentation, but no matter what, it's a positive work environment for, even if you have sweat equity team, right? Of saying, hey, let's have some breaks, let's have some holiday cheer so that we can actually be more productive. And it actually does work when you have more productivity. You actually have high customer satisfaction because whenever, if they have to call a team member, that team member is more joyful and that customer is more joyful in the end as well. And then lastly is the post-holiday planning. So the main thing is to be able to have the Q4 set up great. You're going to get through Q4. I know you will. But that is post-holiday planning in Q1. There's a couple of things. So focus on retention. Identify ways to retain new holiday customers beyond Q4 by year start bundles and discounts or any kind of thing that you're like, okay, if I'm getting some new holiday customers, how are they going to transition? So as you're building out what the holiday things are, think about that ongoing retention. Then analyze holiday data. So it's very, very important when you're conducting a post-holiday review to assess all the strategies that worked well and which needs improvement. Because I can guarantee you Q4 of next year, you're like, what did we do so good? Or what happened? And what can we learn from it? So make sure that you set time for post-mortem analysis of the holiday season so you can learn and grow from it. And if you need help with that, always come back to the Brink SBDC. We have advisors that can kind of walk you through that. And then gather customer feedback. See if you can get some customer reviews and feedback for future improvements. This is a time that maybe in first week in January, people might have some time to like click on a survey or do something for you. So just, and if they love the customer experience so much, they'll want to do that for you. And then plan for a strong Q1. Utilize the holiday data to prepare for the new year's goals and initiatives. And you're not like, let's say like doing your goals for Q1 and 2025 in a vacuum because you really, really work during the holidays on understanding your customer a little bit better. So the SMB example, sorry, I put the name of this is the first time I did that. So after a successful holiday season, they use customer feedback to refine their offerings, ensuring high engagement and loyalty in Q1. So it's important to them to have customers that come back on a consistent basis. They have a subscription. They come back every single month. And if they get them through the holidays because they're home or they have some new goals for health, they want to retain them and see how they can do all the way through the next year. So that is all for me now. We have about 10 minutes for any questions that you might have to really up level your Q4. Again, we went through a lot of strategic pieces. I gave you some tactical pieces of how to actually infiltrate your customer journey to really reach those customers that you want to reach because they love your product or they love your service. And this is how you can interact with all the things that are part of the SBDC. Okay. Anybody has any questions out there? And I'll check the chat as well.
I just want to say that is so much information, Sylvia, and I'm so grateful for all of that knowledge that you're sharing with us. That's extremely helpful for right now before
Perfect. There's no questions there, so. Any questions off the top that you're like, look, I'm working, I'm gonna go work on this, and how can I be better at it? Joseph, go ahead.
I was just thinking of the value. Can you hear me?
Say it again. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. I was just thinking about this idea of once you've worked with somebody, the idea of the next sell, upsell, cross-sell, that funnel. That was my note there. I was like, I don't think I have a specific messaging variance that sort of takes that into account. So that was very helpful. Normally I'm thinking more about what season we're in versus how the message needs to adapt to where we are in relationships. So that was a great reminder. So
Yeah, and I would say go back also. I love going back to the persona and looking at the behavior piece, right? Because if they're behaving in a certain way and you know them, you know who they are, and they're behaving like like I said at the very beginning, some of them are PTSD about holiday. You don't even want to touch that persona during the holidays. But if they totally love the holidays, you know, like 80% of your people love it, maybe have a story that allows them to like get to know you more and say, well, if you're feeling stressed because of the holidays, you know, you can book a session with me. I have 1 hour. Did you know that I have 1 hour sessions? Or we have groups starting in January. So if you are full of anxiety or that you want to like be better in your profitability or your whatever it is, operations and like who you appear as leaders, like sign up for this, or maybe an orientation session. If a lot of people say, you know what, I know my customer base, but they don't know really what I do, have an orientation, say at the end, look, we would love to have a couple of new clients this season to walk them through. That's an upsell, but in a very authentic and ethical way, because you're like, look, I'm going to bring you value. And we don't know where you are, but this is an orientation of what we do. So I mean, like, there's a lot of things like that again is anchored by the authenticity of your brand.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I would say I'll have an example. I love examples. So one of our portfolio companies is a cross bag purse, right? And during the holidays, people want to gift things out, right? So sometimes it's a bundle of if you buy 3, you get a discount, which we don't do during the year, because if you buy 3, you're buying 3 for yourself. It doesn't really make sense. Throughout the year, it's more of like, oh, we have a new color, we have a new this, and that's how we upsell them or cross sell. The other piece in the holidays is what I kind of talked about as products that are tangential to you. So let's say a nice Christmas sweater that you can wear underneath the crossbody bag. You could maybe cross sell that way, saying, you know what, we know this other company that has really good sweaters, buy from them. And if you buy from them, you get this. It's more like a rewards loyalty type of bundle. But again, think back to that customer behavior and why they're buying from you, and see like, how do I upsell and bundle or reward them or anything like that to get them passed down that journey. So I think there's other. Okay, I need help with learning how to ship my handmade products. Yeah, I mean, that's something that during the holidays, you might not get the people that are just right in your neck, like in front of you, right? If you're like at a farmer's market. So that's something you can probably talk to somebody at the brink who has that information about shipping and stuff like that. But I would do your own research on what are the shipping components out there, and talk to another small business that actually might be doing the same thing you are. See how other people are doing it, and you can learn from them. I know Pirate Ship is one company that a lot of very small businesses use, because it's a really small, they reduce their prices for shipping, but I don't know if by like a bigger manufacturer might not need that, but that's one possibilities. Also, there's another question here. Can you elaborate on how to make your brand more transparent? Oh, great question. We have like 4 more minutes. So the brand being more transparent, let's say you have never communicated, and this is just like an example, right? So you are a company that manufactures shoes, right? And you manufacture them really great. You know, you're manufacturing. You're like, you know, we go to this manufacturer. We make sure the manufacturer is like tight, great, wonderful. We've gone there. We've made sure that it was all good. Then it gets shipped, and it's only made in the USA, and it gets shipped to our headquarters, and our headquarters does this. And then people buy our shoes. But really, somebody might be buying your shoes because they love how it fits. They love the colors and all that. But you've never really commented about the manufacturing piece and that you're very conscious about it, right? And you're very mindful that you're checking all along the way. If you tell that story, let's say through Q4 or anytime, that makes your brand more transparent, right? Saying like, I'm being very transparent of how I manufacture my shoes. And I want my customers to know that, because my customers are like, oh my gosh, I want to buy from them all the time, right? Because wow, they're really being mindful about that. Interesting, right? So those are the kinds of things that that allow for that. Like one of our portfolio companies, going back to all across Africa, is that they have these baskets that are being woven by women in Africa, right? So when they wanted to have more transparency to their customers were Target, West Elm, and all of those companies, they need to have a higher like quality of where this basket is coming from, and is it truly a woman making the basket? So she created actually a blockchain program and solution that you can actually track the actual woman in Africa who is doing the baskets, and that who are the people that in the co-op, and that specific co-op, it all tracks it back to that. And people bought from her more, especially the higher level like Target, West Elm, because she had the technology. So that's creating more transparency and rigor so that you can communicate that to your customer, and that customer cares about it. Maybe they won't care about it, and that's a whole other ball of wax, right? But they care about it, that you actually increase your lifetime value for that customer. So yeah, we have 2 more minutes. I think we are done. No more questions. Thank you so much for coming in today. As in the chat said, we will be sending out the slides to everybody. It will be available. The video will be available on YouTube, I think, Stephen, in the next couple of weeks. Thank you, Stephen. The Brink SBDC is a wonderful network of advisors like myself and others that are really specific in their industry. So if you have questions about financials and marketing and sales and all the things, ask the SBDC about coming in, becoming a client, and making sure that we get you to the right resources at the right time. So thanks for joining us today. I'm very excited that you were part of it today, and see you guys in a little bit when we see each other next.